The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the ECPHS.com.
And belly on up to the 9-foot homemade oak bar. Pour yourself a cold one. My name is Chris. This is my basement right here in Evergreen Park, and a special edition of the EP Podcast, which has been coming out at the end of every week since high school football season started, is back yet again with Football Friday. In just a few moments, we're going to be talking with the head coach of the Evergreen Park Mustangs, Coach Jerry Verde. Another big win. The Mustangs having a great season so far. We will get his thoughts, and it's all brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Your child's bright financial future starts with learning good money habits early in life. Help them get ahead with a Junior Savers account from the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. With a Junior Savers account, kids earn interest on every dollar they deposit so they can watch their money grow. Show your kids how fun and rewarding saving can be and set them up for success. Learn more. Visit bankevergreenpark.com/junior. No minimum deposit to open and no fees until they turn 22. Member FDIC. Some housekeeping very quickly before we get to the coach. Remember, an episode of the EP Podcast that is 30 minutes of good covering all of Evergreen Park and the surrounding area still comes out each and every Monday on this feed. If you are not subscribed, do so. Any podcast player out there. You can also get every option and listen at the EPPodcast.com. That's the website you go to give us some feedback as well. We're starting a thing here. We're going to run probably through the entire month of October, trying to ask you, the listener, what you like, what you dislike, what you want more of from the EP Podcast. You can send us a comment through the website, hit us up through social media, or you can even leave us a voice message. There's a little microphone bottom right-hand corner when you use your device that has speaking capabilities. Let's say an iPhone, an Android, your iPad, whatever, your tablet. You'll get this microphone bottom right-hand corner. Click on it. Leave us a message. We would love to hear from you. Weekend, we are going to be at two events. Make sure you're ready for a big Saturday. First off, 11 a.m. it starts, Open Outcry, 109th and Western, their first ever Oktoberfest, and amongst the beer, the food, the fun, on the upper level of the roof, inside of the pub, and out back of the brewery, where they're going to have a big giant tent. They're going to have multiple bands out there. German fare, German food, German beer. Look for the EP Podcast. We will be there. Come by the tent. We're giving stuff away. We're giving away cash, actually. $250 prize on the line. Come see us there. 109th and Western between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. this Saturday. And then starting at 5:30 going until 9 p.m., the Evergreen Park Public Library is having their Micro Marathon Fundraiser, a 21 and over event. $35 in advance online, $40 at the door. You can go to the Evergreen Park Library website, evergreenparklibrary.org, for more information. Your money gives you free craft beer. There's like 5 samples I think you're getting there in total, plus free food from Joey's Red Hots. Live music as well from Friendly Fire. And if you walk around the library a couple of times, we heard Frank Murray on the show talk about it. It's a mini marathon. You get one of those stickers. You've seen those 26.2 stickers on the back of people's cars? You get a .262 sticker from the library for your mini marathon. I'm going just for that. Everybody thinks it's the beer. Beer's going to be great. Lots of craft breweries there, cider places. It's going to be awesome. But I really want the sticker. The mayor told me she's getting one of those stickers as well. She's doing the entire thing. Big weekend in Evergreen Park on Saturday, but it is going to be kicked off by the Evergreen Park Mustangs. Your high school football team here in Evergreen Park is 4-1, and head coach Jerry Verde joins me next to talk about maybe the biggest win of the season. Was it the biggest win of the season last Saturday? We're going to ask him, and we're going to talk about the Friday night game this weekend right here on the EP Podcast. Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. And on the phone line with us once again, another week, and we're coming off of a win. I like coming off of wins. When we came off of a loss the week before, I felt bad bugging the head coach of the Evergreen Park Mustangs, Jerry Verde. But now we get to talk about happy stuff, Coach. How are you this week?
Doing well.
Excellent win. And when I look at that win last week on Saturday against Revis, what I see from the outside looking in is a team that had taken a loss, that had to go on the road, play during the day, which they don't normally have to do, play against a team that had their homecoming game, probably big crowd, pomp and circumstance, and it's a team that if you lose, you're falling way back in the conference standings. It's going to make your road a little bit tougher. It's not a must-win game, but it's a game that you really want. It's a statement game, and then it's a tough game where it's back and forth and it's close until you get a big breakout run in the fourth quarter, take the lead and hold on to it, and you're able to topple Revis and get a big victory. Is this the biggest win of the year for you?
Yeah, I mean it's the biggest win. It was a battle, right on through the whole game. Any win against a quality opponent, and Revis is a good win, and when you play a game where all four quarters are competitive, and the kids really did play very hard from start to finish. It was a good win. A lot of people have asked me a lot of questions, about it, and I just keep saying the same thing. It was a team win. We got it done, just enough done offensively, just enough done defensively. We had a few big plays on the special teams, and it truly was a team win, and that's always nice.
So take me through this fourth quarter. You're probably at that point thinking scenarios, trying to figure out what you want to do if you get down close to the end zone, knowing that you have to drive down the field, and then all of a sudden you get a big run ripped off for over 60 yards, and it makes your job a lot easier, I would think, as a coach. But tell me what you're thinking as that game is right there neck and neck, right before that run gets broken off, and then what you felt afterwards. Was it mostly relief?
Well, it was. In a tie game that was kind of going back and forth, and we had punted back and forth to each other a few times, you're kind of wondering if there's going to be that big play, and you hope you're not going to be on the wrong side of it. And sure enough, Dejan Feliciano, our quarterback, was able to break one loose, 69 yards. He outran everybody. It was a huge momentum swing for us, and it kind of kept us riding high pretty much all the way through the end. Revis actually got the ball back twice there at the end with opportunities to tie the game, and we were able to hold them off defensively. So, anytime you get one of those big plays and you're on the right side of it, especially, late in the game, it's a huge momentum, swing, and we were able to ride that out. But we did show resilience. I think we finally can say that we're battle tested. We've been in that neck and neck situation now a few times, and we've come out on the right side of it a couple times. So it's a big win for us, and it's amazing how one play it didn't really have to turn the tide, but it at least got you on the right side of momentum to be able to win that one.
Is that a play where you're just trying to move the chains a little bit? Is that a play that you think of when you call it, that this could be a big play, it has the potential to be a play? Are you calling a short game there and then he just makes a play and does something unexpected? Or is that play something where you actually in the design know there's a possibility could be for big yardage?
Well, anytime you get to a really big play like that, that maybe we would say isn't a trick play, there's a little bit of execution and at times athleticism, and then sometimes even maybe a little bit of luck that goes into that. But the touchdown run was part of a progression, and a lot of teams are running the spread offense. A lot of teams have the RPO run pass option, and what ends up happening in that particular progression, you've got the potential handoff to the running back, you've got the quarterback pull, and then even after the quarterback pull, there's the potential, depending on the play, to have a third option of a bubble screen to a wide receiver, or even a quick slant to a receiver. So it just so happened on that time he made the right read. He pulled the ball and was able to get up to the second level, and then once he got to the second level, he made a nice cut and just outran everybody. He hit the sideline and he was gone. So with his speed, he's always a big play threat, and he's the kind of running big play threat that we haven't really had in a long time. We've had really good running backs, bruisers, guys that could get 3 yards when there's no hole. But what we've been missing over the last few years is that breakaway option, and Dejan definitely has that. He has the speed to do that, which makes him a special player.
You have an experienced offensive line, and you've got a playmaker that can use their feet. I mean, it sounds to me like that could be a big reason why your team is 4-1, 2-1 in the conference, sitting up there right behind Richards, tied with Revis in the conference, but of course you just beat them head to head, and so that feels like it's a winning combination. Are you now looking at this team and looking at the remaining part of the schedule in a specific way? I know you have one more non-conference game here and a couple more conference games. Do you sit there and circle games and you say, okay, this one we got to win, this one I think we'll win, this is where we're probably going to end up, and I'm looking at it big picture, or is it still one game at a time for you?
It really has to be one game at a time, and that's one of the big things in high school football. It always pretty much has to be one game at a time in high school football, because there's so much changes week to week. You're not dealing with a 75-man college roster where you're trying to figure out who are the 55 who you're going to put on the travel list or anything like that. Our roster for varsity this year is 33 guys, and from week to week, depending on injuries and things like that, you set up the game plan, and that's really all you can focus on. Is that week that you're playing. You got to do everything you can to win that week, and you really don't think about the next week. There's always that, well, should we play so-and-so or save them for down the line or whatever the case may be, and the reality is you have to win any game, that you're playing, especially if you know going into it that you have a legitimate shot to win that game. And we look at these last 4 games as all games that we can compete in. So, whereas we go to TF South, out to TF South this week, we think it's a game that we can compete. We think that it's a game that if we play well, we can win. And that's all the planning that goes into it. You really don't look too far ahead besides what's right in front of you right now.
Who's your player of the week this week?
Well, player of the week this week is Asiel Rubalcaba, and he's our free safety. He had 11 tackles, some of which were just huge tackles, and had an interception. And he really was a catalyst for us out there on Saturday afternoon. Just as he has been all year for us defensively, setting the tone, and he's done such a nice job for us since we moved him to free safety. He started the year off as an inside linebacker, and since then we've moved him to free safety, kind of out of necessity, but he's played so well there that's where he's staying. So with 11 tackles and an interception, Asiel is our player of the game.
Awesome. All right, you go non-conference now, again on the road. We've talked about this already. Very few home games this year for the Mustangs. You do get to come home after this one, but first it's Thornton Fractional South. They're 1-4. They're a non-conference though, so we always talk about that. When you're looking at somebody outside of the conference, you don't know what they're playing in, how tough the league is that they actually play in. Tell me a little bit about this opponent this week.
Well, you get a crossover game each year. We're in the red, they're in the blue. So it's not part of our conference record, as you said. They've played. TF South has played some pretty good teams. They played Shepherd earlier in the year. They just got them playing Hillcrest. They played a much improved Oak Forest team, and those were their losses. They're a big team, size wise. They've got good speed, and they're a pretty darn good 1-4 team, to be completely honest with you. And once again, we're playing on homecoming. It's just when you're on the road in the middle of the season, there's a good chance that it could be homecoming. And once again, for the third week in a row for us, it is. So heading out there, it should be interesting. It is a nice setting to play in. Always fun out in Lansing on a Friday night. But like I said before, it's a game we know we can compete in, and it's a game that we hope to come out on top in.
Has it become kind of a joke in the locker room with the guys? The idea that they're constantly playing on somebody else's homecoming?
Well, it can also be a motivator too. The days of planning a homecoming game against, like, let's say your weakest opponent, that really doesn't happen that much anymore. You're kind of just stuck with this is your schedule and this is when it works best for the school. And, so from that perspective, we get motivated, the fact that all the hoopla, the big crowd, the kids like it. It's always nice to play in front of a big crowd. So that's what we know we're going to be in front of again this Friday. And it motivates us a little bit, it gets us excited to play, and hopefully it works to our benefit and not against us.
Is there something to be said for getting your team battle tested to play in intense games like that? Because hopefully, eventually, you would hope to be in the playoffs and make a run in the playoff tournament. Is there something to being in front of large hostile crowds, or at least crowds that are going up against your team? Is there something to that where it battle tests your team and makes them ready for the road later on down when you get to the postseason?
Oh, absolutely. Particularly for guys who are playing, who are first-year starters, who aren't used to playing, not used to playing under the lights with the big crowd, and especially the big crowd that's cheering for the other team. And it's also worth mentioning that Saturday afternoon we had a great crowd come out from Evergreen Park and was hugely supportive. And we had the same thing the week before, even at Richards, too. A lot of people coming out and traveling to the games. But anytime you're experiencing something new, like I said, especially for those guys that haven't been starters before, to get it out of the way now and get used to it now is always better than being on the road in the playoffs and having to figure it out then and adjust to the emotions and things like that.
They're 4-1. Their conference record 2-1. They go up against 1-4 Thornton Fractional South, who, as Coach just said, is a very good 1-4 team. Don't be fooled by that record. Friday night, the 30th here of September at 7 p.m. on the road. And good luck to you this week, Coach. Keep it rolling. Big win. I was very excited when I saw how that game went down for you against Revis, and I think you're exactly right. That is your biggest win of the year, and hopefully there's bigger wins ahead for you.
Hopefully, absolutely.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude is basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudie's Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudie's Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com.